I thought it was another great day of work. Out here getting our scrimmage in, getting a lot of reps. I felt like we really took advantage of it and, feel like we're in a really good place coming off it. And, we're excited to go compete this weekend or this Friday and get some good work in against Tennessee. So I'll open it up to any questions.
Like throwing passes to Jets again?
It's great. Picked up right where we left off. I feel like, he's somebody that's always going to be working, always trying to improve in every which way. And, yeah, it feels amazing every time I get to throw that guy the ball.
Talking about how he was fangirling with you a little bit the other day, getting your autograph on a jersey. But he said what he loves about you is not only how you see the game, like you do everything right to last in this league a long time, but also your ability with your feet. He really takes pride in seeing you be like that. When you see a guy like his caliber on defense giving that kind of kudos to you, and you haven't even gone out there and played in regular season yet, what does that mean to you?
It's an extreme honor. I respect his perspective, his opinion, more than a lot of guys in this, game. And, for me to hear that, it means the world. And just, we talked about it over the offseason, just how deadly quarterbacks can be with their feet and, pump fakes and all that. So just being able to bring that to fruition and, make him proud feels really good.
How much did you spend time in the defensive meeting rooms or picking his brain?
It was probably like 2 times a week. I would make sure I get in there for the personnel reports and how they attack this quarterback, how they attack this offensive scheme. But it was probably 2 times a week, 1 to 2 times a week, and just a well of knowledge in that room. And it was just great every single time I got to spend time with those boys and see that different side of it.
Is it easy to understand what they were talking about?
Well, you think defense, and then you get in the room. I was talking about this with Coach Fry the other day, and just all the different little, love you too, man. All the different little technical points and just, the why behind everything. It's not just cover 2. It's not just cover 3. There's all these little details that, you don't pick up on because you don't, know the engineer behind the whole thing. So, yeah, it was really cool.
Last year, how much meditation came into play as you managed the stresses of doing kind of your favorite thing, which is throwing the football?
It came into play every single day and multiple times a day. I felt like it was a great time for me to take advantage of that side of my life. And, meditation is, people make it up to be this complex thing where you got to go, meditate in the mountains in Tibet for 2 weeks to really get something done. But no, it's just about being present and just focusing on what's in front of you, your breath, whatever it may be. But it just paid dividends to, my recovery and most importantly, my growth through that time.
What was it like for you to be off the field? I've spoken to some of your former teammates, your coaches. It seems like football, you're like that character in the Apple TV show, Football is Life, and Ted Lasso. So what's it like to not have the opportunity to be on the field?
It was extremely hard. 1, not to just play the game of football. I love this sport more than anything in the world, but 2, and most importantly, not to be out there with my guys. I absolutely loved our team last year, love our team this year even more, but just not being out there, just knowing, all the work you put in together, all that shared suffering, not to go out there and really go do it day in and day out, that was the most frustrating thing. And especially when game time rolled around and you put on that war paint and that armor, not being able to go out there with those guys was the toughest part.
What are some of the unique challenges right now during training camp without having your consistent number 1 receiving core out there?
I would say the unique challenge about that is just the different way defenses are going to play us. When 18's on the field, there's going to be a lot of too-high structure, a lot of, 88-man, 66-man, whatever you want to call it, just doubling him. So how are they going to respond to that? Are they going to bring more pressure? Are they going to play, less coverage, more man coverage, all that stuff? So it was a good introduction for me because, going into this year, I wasn't expecting that at all. But that's a very real situation to go through. So it was invaluable to go through it early on.
Comfort level of concern, the depth of the receiver, all the injuries you've had, and then 2 guys kind of get dinged up here today. What's your level of concern, that depth behind you?
I have no concern at all. I absolutely love our room, but, at the end of the day, I trust KO and Quace to make the right decision and, do whatever's best for this football team.
Is that maybe safety, maybe not a safety moment on your 99-yard drive, but after that sequence, I saw you kind of go back to KOC. Josh McCown came over, Justin Jefferson. What's it like having that sort of like brain trust around you as you get ready for week one, really?
It's great. You know, very intelligent minds, but great leaders, all three of them right there. And just being able to pick their brains every single day and hear their perspective on every single rep, it's extremely valuable, extremely.
What's your process been? There has been some receivers coming in and out of the lineup, whether it's Justin or not. There's other guys coming in and out, been hurt or come back in. And I just wonder what your process is for like getting familiar with that volume of people. I mean, half of it is knowing the offense, and half of it is knowing where these guys are going to be and what they do. And so I'm curious what your process has been and what challenge that's presented.
Process doesn't change too much, but if it is a guy that hasn't been in the offense for a long time, or been with this particular group, you just kind of emphasize the play more. You kind of check in with them, like, hey, you got it, little stuff like that. Where I feel like the process doesn't really change, but you just add little tweaks here or there to make sure everyone's on the same page.
How would you describe your confidence level right now? I spoke to Aaron Jones last week, and he said you came up to him and said something before a game, and he was like, I like that, Nine. Like, do more of that. How would you describe your confidence now?
Extremely high, highest it's ever been. I feel like, just looking at the guys around me and the coaching staff, like that gives me all the confidence in the world to go out there knowing I've got at my back and at all of our backs. I just feel like, I get goosebumps right now just thinking about it. Just extremely confident, and just the way we tack every single day, we put in the work, and the rest is going to take care of itself. But just having that confidence level as a precursor of the work that we put in, it just makes me really excited.
Last couple from JJ, being like a leader and being with the guys, like you said, have you gone out of your way to kind of be with other position groups and be kind of, just developing that team-like chemistry? Or is that just natural in team anyway?
100%. I feel like it's one team in one heartbeat. It's not just the quarterbacks, the receivers, the O-line. We are in this thing together. I know training camp is a lot of head-to-head and, going against each other, fights and all that. But, every single time we're in this locker room, it's one family. And I feel like, I do a really great job of trying to connect with every single person on this team, starter, not starter, defensive player, special teams guy. That's your role as a quarterback. And at the end of the day, I just love every single guy. We have such great human beings in there, and they're a joy to talk to and get to know.
JJ, how comfortable are you? Quarterbacks typically holding teammates accountable. At your age and experience level, how comfortable are you being holding guys accountable as a quarterback?
You know what? I'm as a leader, I'd say I'm more of a servant leader in terms of I'm not going to get on you. I'm not going to scream at you if you get something wrong. I'll pull you to the side. Our previous conversations are going to let me know how I should approach that. If a guy needs to get a little, chewed out and yelled at a little bit, then yeah, I'll do that. But I won't do it in front of my teammates. I won't do any of that where it's exposing him in some way. If it's somebody that, I sit down one-on-one with them and just say hey man, what were you thinking on that? I kind of need you here. Little stuff like that. But, I feel like just with the success comes more leadership and being able to use your voice more. So I feel like, I got to earn my stripes in order to get up in front of the team or something like that. But yeah, I'm constantly doing it in all these different ways that I've learned from the past.
You've got sort of a unique and thorough system on taking notes through your iPad. Mm-hmm. What, if anything, can you share about that process? How you?
It's just highly organized, how I go through it week to week. I wish I could show you, but it's really hard to explain. But, it's a lot of color coding. Obviously every single situation that we could be in and the game plans and, just separate notes on, the personnel and, that week. The defensive coordinator's kind of structure, philosophy, where he's been in the past, all that stuff. But I really try to do my best to compartmentalize all that information so, it's simple, quick, and concise on game day when we need it.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks so much, you guys. Great seeing you.